meeting of the Convention and Visitor Advisory Board to order. First, I'm going to do a roll call. Chairman James Long, Kathy Cordes, Justin Fortney, Mike Monahan.
Here.
Dan Newton.
Here.
H.C. Patel.
Here.
Verla Raines.
Here.
Mayor Steve Gitling. Cheryl Paget. Okay, well, we have 4 members out of 7 present, so that is a quorum. So we're going to open for business. Is there any public comments? Okay, see, we've got some really exciting stuff going, so great. All right, hopefully this meeting will be quick.
Yeah.
All right, consider approval of previous minutes from July 17th, 2017.
So moved.
Okay,
Seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, I've put a spreadsheet for discussion of your current financial status, our current financial status, in your packet. I printed it big this time. I made a correction from last time because I found out one of the formulas, the one for professional development, wasn't taken out the $75 that was encumbered for some reason. So I altered that in your spreadsheet. Looks like we have a balance in the, let's see here, let's start with marketing line item. Current balance is $32,692.31.
Which column are you looking at? I'm sorry.
Unencumbered balance.
Unencumbered balance under
Oh,
marketing
okay.
supplies.
Okay, got it.
So next we have special events. We still have an unencumbered balance of $4,152 in that account, line item. Professional services, unencumbered balance of $1,239.85. And conventions and trade shows, unencumbered balance of $5,544.70. Do you have any questions about anything in this report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because we only have a month to go, has Mr. Casey brought any money or any bills for his 2,500?
He's done some receipts. He said that his rodeo season doesn't end until September, and so he'll be kind of getting us that within 60 days of the end of September.
Yeah, but don't you have to pay the bills, or can you encumber them, accrue them to carry them over?
Well, we do carry funds over. They clarified that. Do you
I
mean,
know,
do you mean?
but his, are we going to accrue his expenses and all the expense if he doesn't have the bills?
Well, he was paid up front and has to use the receipts for proof that he spent the money as agreed.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that's kind of how we've been doing it. That's something we're going to discuss tonight, whether we
Okay.
want to change.
My bad.
But no, it's okay.
thought he had not spent the money yet.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
he got the check up front. I think part of it was for, and I looked back, and according to what we said in the meeting, it was for marketing, including draw money. So what that is he draws stock producers in different groups in to kind of get his rodeos started.
Okay.
So I do have receipts totaling more than the amount that he gave. I didn't bring them all tonight because I don't have his report. I don't think he was able to be here, so I just figured. He said wait till September when I'll have all of it. I said okay.
So he's already spent all the money?
The money is spent though
Okay,
in
so that's
this,
fine, so
in
we
this
just waited on
fiscal year.
the reconciliation.
I'm good with
Yeah,
that
we're
then.
waiting on his report and receipts and
I'm
all
good.
that to be final.
I'm good with that then.
Any other questions or discussion about this? One thing that will show up on the next one, today I just registered Keith and myself for a social media training, and I'm going to a supervisor training, so those will be showing up next round in September. And yeah, any monies that are left over in these accounts, they can do a budget amendment to roll it over for next year's CVB fund, so we can start with more than what you've just taken for next year. We'll have some money to get us started through the season.
And can I ask one other question?
Mm-hmm.
Is the 2,500 that's shown encumbered for the Lazy E, are we paying them on our fiscal year or on a calendar year?
That's a good question, and I believe it's on our fiscal year.
So do we owe them one more payment of
Yes.
2,500?
Mhm. And the check may have been sent and not cleared. I'll have to check with Kim and see where we are
You
on
said one
that.
more past this one?
No,
Okay.
that is the
25,
last of
just the
the
2,500.
2,500, because their total contract was 10K, 10,000. So,
So is there, oh, it's a 3-year contract, isn't it?
you know, I
Yeah, think
have to
that's what
look
it
at
is.
the.
And usually that's what they do.
Okay. I have not met with them to do any negotiations for next year. I haven't been approached.
Yeah, we probably need to see the contract when it is.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I know
fine.
there was an agreement, but I didn't see dates on other signatures, so just kind of a list of benefits. All right, any other questions? Okay, well then, we'll move on to number 4, discussion and possible action on travel and trade shows. Okay, I'm bringing this back up because last month, we talked about Frontier Country Marketing Association. The board voted to attend the San Antonio Ultimate Women's Expo. And I kind of did some numbers for the fiscal year coming up and the end of this. And well, San Antonio Women's Show falls September 30th through October 1st. Other events that weekend include the Guthrie Escape Art and Wine Festival, a Western Dressage World Championship Show, which I'm trying to get a hospitality table at the Lazy E, National Bike MS at the park, and I want to say there's one more. But having something like 4 local events makes it really hard for me to go out of state all the way to San Antonio. So I was gonna see if we had a volunteer, somebody who wanted to go, or if we just wanted to send our brochure this time around to San Antonio, versus spending the money for travel costs. Just to kind of see if we get any response from that, maybe get our new brochure and a person to go. They can consider going to San Antonio next year if that's where they end up. It sounds like it's kind of an annual event, the San Antonio Ultimate Women's Show. I'm not 100% certain on that.
So if you
but-
just send the brochures, does it just end up in a rack?
It would be
Back.
on the table with Travel OK.
And they go in bags, because they hand out bags to everybody that
Yeah.
comes up to the table.
Last year they had 24,000 women, is that what that's saying? 2016, I guess.
24,267, yeah,
That's a lot of women.
that is a lot of women.
All in the same place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do they have it? That convention center?
Freeman Coliseum and Expo Center, so I'm guessing an Expo Center. So,
It's,
So how many days is that event?
well, that is September 30th through October 1st, so just the
2 days.
2, but it'd be a travel day down,
Yeah.
travel day back, so, and hotels and meal and. I know Heath, you said you were looking and see if you had a family down there, but your take was kind of with me, just do brochure this year and focus on some of the other shows that are closer for this year. I included a whole schedule of shows. I put a spreadsheet in your packet that kind of breaks down the $8,000 that I proposed for out of next year's budget for travel shows. Since this one's September 30th, I'd have to pay the fee prior to, so it would go into fiscal year 17 versus fiscal year 18. And we have plenty of money in conventions and trade shows to do that, or to sponsor or send a person if we really need to. I know I am looking at for next year. I think I included a schedule in here of Travel OK's travel show program. And the ones I recommend that we do, I don't think our new brochure will be ready in time for the Oklahoma State Fair in early September. We could go ahead and do that for, we could go ahead and send that, that's again for this fiscal year. Send a brochure down with them. I think the cost for just sending the brochure to the state fair is, let me get that pulled up.
That's 25.
Sorry, you've got it, you said, what was it?
Is it 225? I think I'm
Yeah,
looking at the right sheet.
275. And that also gives us a 30-second video slot. Then yeah, San Antonio Ultimate Women's Expo would be pretty good if we can find somebody to go. I don't think I should be gone with that many activities here. Then I'm looking at possibly the Wichita Falls Women's Expo. That's in pretty close driving distance. The Wichita Women's Fair in Wichita, Kansas. That's a day trip, so that's pretty easy. I know I put lodging down, but I'd probably not have to use it. And I wanted to overestimate in case I needed to. And then the Dallas Travel and Adventure Show. Those are things, you know, right across the I-35 corridor that I think are gonna get a lot of good traffic. And I know if we sign up for, I think they said 4, if you do 4 brochure co-ops, we get 1 free. So we could, you know, send brochures to McAllen Winter, Texan Expo, Canadian Snowbird Extravaganza, things like that through Travel OK. So, what are your thoughts on all of that? Do you see travel shows on this list that you'd rather me do some research on and focus on and adjust numbers around?
Well, I agree with the 2 Wichita travel shows, just because one's north on I-35, one's south on I-44 right there. And having lived in that area, I'd even volunteer to go to the Wichita Falls one, because I know my way around the town a little bit. But, and the Dallas one, I would even think it'd be a good bang for our buck to go to Dallas.
How do we know what the bang for the buck is?
Well, I mean,
I can pass around, this is some of the data that they sent to me. I didn't print it off for all of you because how massive your packet would be. If you have questions about specific ones, they're talking about, it's hard to kind of measure return, especially the first year you have, you know, unless we don't have a way to track, you know, when do they come in. Travel OK does use a tool called Arrivalist, and I've thought about talking with them to see about how they use that. It's a program where when people come in there into the state, if they've visited Travel OK or planned a trip, it will register your cell phone when they come in state. So if they're out of state, so we kind of get an idea of how many people are coming in and some areas where they're coming from. But outside of once they come in the state, where they go, if they come to Guthrie, that's a bit more of a challenge. Still, most of the communities that I've talked to in this area at least have said that the conventions and trade shows, travel shows are one of the best uses of hotel motel funds when it comes to attracting people. I haven't talked with enough of them to get where they got their data for that or how they measure that. I get a lot too that, you know, okay, well, do they come, if they come there, how much money do they spend? How do you know? You know, and except for people at the hotels going and talking to them and then being willing to share that information with me, which is sometimes pretty difficult to get. I don't know that
I
there
guess
are
if
great
you're going to
training
these travel
programs.
shows and we're giving them something like brochures and stuff, perhaps one to promote our motels and at least let these people know what brands we have here. You know, you might do a page which lists all the hotels in town. You know, to show that hey, there are these hotels which will accommodate you.
Yeah.
You know, and on the flip side to it could be the restaurants. It's a draw.
I wonder if there would be any way to say, you know, book your trip at a local hotel and get, I don't know, small percentage off. No? Okay. I know you guys are pretty tight for, you know.
That would be a
One way to
good
help
way.
measure.
A good way.
If you could have some kind of a discount associated to that particular convention code, but you gotta be able to offer the discount.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that because, you know, it's a lodging tax money, which is what we're using here, you know? So don't we need to advertise for the motels to get more people into those rooms?
Well, do hotels bring people in?
Well, if these people are traveling,
Yeah, they may need.
Where are they staying?
Hotel, it's true,
and then the lodging tax they're paying is coming back to us.
it's true.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
And, or do we give away, like, do we do a giveaway to each, if we go to these shows, do we take a couple of giveaways with us? So,
I think when we have if we're, let me see.
I mean, like a good giveaway, like dinner and a show or something.
Well, we have, when we've done the media blitzes and the road
Yeah.
shows, we have.
Okay.
But it just, but they have, I mean, they specify a giveaway.
Will you pass that to Mike?
These
Because,
may not specify.
The Wichita Falls Women's Expo, it says that show management will announce any drawings and winners that you conduct at your booth. So, it kind of, I think it depends on the rules of the expo.
So basically, they're gonna have like a business card, fishbowl to drop, and then you would draw for that prize.
Well, I'm not exactly sure since I haven't done it
Similar.
before, but I would assume they have some kind of
How about
drawing.
San Diego?
I would think a lot of them would allow giveaways. Part of me says, wouldn't see why not.
Did your question get answered? What's the bang for the buck?
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I don't know how you track it. Obviously, in my mind, the one way, anyway, is to offer some kind of a discount. And then that discount code be associated with the particular convention, conference that you're going to.
Yeah.
And then that code changes, obviously.
But see, that's
I don't
going
know.
back to all the motels having a code in their system to track that.
Or, a restaurant or whoever we can
Yeah, so how many
negotiate with to
codes?
get a
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily have
discount.
to be a hotel.
Yeah, okay.
Could be a restaurant, could be a shop, could be anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think you're probably looking at the number of people that attend the event, the conference, the convention, and just assuming that the ones that attract more people you have more chance of people coming to Guthrie, America.
Could we not give a gift certificate away at these? And then just work with the hotels to say, if you get this, let us know that they've come or whatever, or, like, make our own gift certificate up to $80 or whatever for a hotel room or whatever.
Well, are you talking about because, then we're only tracking one visit, right?
Yeah.
So,
The only other thing I just saw, I'm looking at these dates that would make it sort of, Wichita Falls and Wichita both are in February, which, weather can be sort of funky then with ice and snow. And that would be the only bad thing, but I know we gotta sign up for it, so it's,
yeah. I know even the Wichita Women's Fair, is that the one?
it's February 10th.
That's the one, February 16th through 18th, the Wichita, Kansas Women's Fair. Even their brochure co-op gives a Guthrie representative an ability to work a shift. So you go and club for a day and not have to do the whole show. But I think, to me, I think that one's close enough to really to attract some people out of state, far enough away where people might stay the night. And I want to see this grow and go farther. I just,
Right.
yeah, I want to make sure all our big neighbors know we're here, rather than heading to Tennessee first. So.
Well, one of the bangs for the buck, in my opinion, too, is the retailers and the people downtown say, what are you doing to try to get people here? Well, we're appealing to 100,000 different participants in travel shows or whatever that number might be. But that's quantifiable that we've reached out, we've spent the bucks for that number of people. I think we need to keep track of that, because that's the thing that you hear the complaint and you don't have a response. Well, this is who we've tried to reach.
Yeah. what's the thought first on the San Antonio Ultimate Women's Expo, since you made a recommendation last time, on September 30th through October 1st?
You know, could send the brochures and then do it next year.
I would say with all the events in town.
Yeah.
Busy
Just
week.
difficult.
Yeah,
Just a
I'm going
busy
to a
time.
training then on the 29th too, which is my travel day down, and I'd registered before I
Yeah.
realized there was
Realize
date
the
overlap.
dates.
I'd say send the brochures this year, and maybe by next year we'll have a better feel.
On the
for it.
MS, I just found out the other day, it was the same weekend as well.
And a 5K memorial run, so this place is gonna be hopping. If
Yep.
nobody has anything to do, September 30th,
People like lots
October
of wine.
1st, show
It's
up.
like-
Show up to
lots of
Guthrie. It's hopping. Okay. Well, I don't know, since we made a motion last time, I don't know if we need to move to do some sort of amendment to that about attending San Antonio Ultimate Women's Expo, or instead of to do that, to do a brochure instead.
Well, we really, well, we do have possible action on there, so we can,
Mhm.
I would just, I'll make the motion that we send brochures this year due to the amount of activities in Guthrie.
we have a second?
And we not send a person, a representative.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. What about the rest of the travel shows? Do you need more time to review this? We want to revisit it next
Yeah.
time? We have time to revisit this. Do you want me to shoot for providing the brochure of the State Fair Made in Oklahoma exhibit if we get a chance?
I was gonna ask about that. You said it was too early for our new brochure.
Yeah, our
Oh,
new
we have
brochure
some.
won't be ready.
Do we have something else to
Well, I sent
use up?
changes to the existing one to the graphics designer. Frontier Country Marketing is doing did our last brochure. They're doing changes to it, they're in progress. They had one of their staff members leave, and so they are short-staffed. So they are working really hard on it, but she said it would be kind of slow. I don't have an estimated date on it, on getting back the changes. As soon as I get back the changes, I wanna say it'll take a week or two to print. So, I mean, we could approve sending brochures at $275, subject to the availability of an updated brochure.
But what I was wondering, is there an updated brochure that's worth at least sharing at the state fair? Because it might bring people.
I do think once we get changes made, it will have the new logo, the new website, and updated listings. It won't have a new map. It may have a new front picture cover. It may be the same picture that's actually on the background of that ad there on the website.
What do we have left in brochures we just get rid of?
Keith has the remaining
How many?
partial box. We
One
haven't gone through the finish. It's
Just
about
the
one
box?
box, yeah.
Then it's not even,
Yeah.
This one.
That's it.
that's cool.
Well, I would just say, since most of these shows are all February, we've got sort of time on our side to get the new brochure and everything.
Well, but she's asking about
The
the
Oklahoma
Oklahoma City State Fair.
which is, if it's ready, if we have a quality product, September 14th through 24th, which is going to fall before our next meeting. It's gonna start before our next meeting. That's why I asked about that one.
I'd say send them some. You get people from all over the state coming.
That's what Andrew and I talked about, is it's kind of bad that we, right now, don't have anything to send, but I would say on contingent that we have our brochures done, I would say, but would you still have time to sign up and pay? Because I'd hate to have to pay and then not have brochures.
I'll ask them about space and guarantee that before, but yeah, I'm going to wait until I get the design back from Jan and Joe, on the updated current brochure, until I
There's-
sign up.
There's people from all over the state at that fair, and so there's no reason not to put something in their
Yeah.
hands.
And then the other question would be, if we're gonna send it to the fair in Oklahoma City, are we gonna send it to the fair in Tulsa?
I don't have a participation option for that from either Travel OK or Frontier Country, but I could look into that to see
because that would get all those
Yeah.
people up in that corner up there.
Mhm.
Is Frontier Country a different district from
Yeah, that's a
Tulsa?
different-
Yeah, it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and I don't know if Tulsa State Fair, I'll see what it costs.
Green
The
Country.
green, yeah,
Just,
Because then you're reaching Arkansas.
yeah.
Just a
Well,
thought,
then we may
like,
pay
sure.
Green Country membership dues and all of that too, so.
and
I know this is, Oklahoma State Fair is not offered through Frontier Country, it's offered through Travel OK. So I don't know if we'd have to sign up for a full booth to be able to distribute there. So I don't know if there's any tourism partners that we have that go to that region. Does that make sense? So, but I'm happy to explore what a booth costs at the Tulsa
Well,
Fair.
the only reason I ask is I know a bunch of the FFA kids from up north and a little, even some of the Mulhall kids go to Tulsa State Fair for their livestock show. They do not come down to Oklahoma City,
That's
they
true.
go
I know from
rides.
southeast Kansas, they travel to the Tulsa Fair too,
south.
when I was born. So, my family used to raise cattle, so. I'll explore that. Well, then, I mean, if we have a brochure that's up to date, maybe not where we wanna be with a brochure, cause that's a 3-month process and I really don't wanna just hold everything up. Do we wanna consider that then?
How much is it gonna cost us?
$275, and it also gives us a 30-second video loop advertisement.
That's shown where.
I'm not 100% sure. Made in Oklahoma visit. It doesn't say exactly.
They usually, from my
There's a
experience,
television monitor.
yeah, as far as my experience, they have a big TV in their booth that loops videos.
It'd be worth it if we got.
And actually, it's a pretty big booth. The Made in Oklahoma booth at the State Fair is a pretty big booth.
Do we have any food trucks that are going to the fair? Like, is Mary going to the fair? Can we send Mary with some brochures? Because people love to go for the food. And so-
That's a good idea, and it would save us. I mean, I don't know. It depends. Yeah. It depends where we want to be featured. I can.
I'm trying to think, Mary would be the only one out of Guthrie that I would think that may have
She did last year.
have a food presence there, but if she has a food presence there, Mary would be willing to allow us to put a rat cart or something up
Yeah.
in her food booth. I think we would get more exposure there than,
Then with everybody else in Oklahoma. And the Made in Oklahoma booth.
I don't know that I ever went to the fair to check out other destination opportunities. I mean, I go for the food.
Go
for the food.
Rides and stuff.
Just go for the food.
Just go for the food, but you go for rides.
and yeah, people, I mean, my kids go for the rides and, I mean, I like to go through the booth buildings or the cars, the auto show, but,
As far as number of potential people that you can hit, obviously the fair is the biggest.
sure.
Yeah, they estimate 1 million, so.
If it doesn't rain that weekend,
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
No, it does, right?
People still go out there.
People stop, we
Oh,
still
yeah.
got, I'm in the rain. Still got a good turkey leg,
Indian taco.
and then Dan's Indian taco.
Well, I'm hearing,
Well-
don't worry, check about, see if we can find somebody with a food truck or somebody locally to send it with instead, if we have one ready.
It'd be a good alternative.
If you don't,
Any other
limited
options?
time, the only other thing I could say is, if you could find enough good product, what we could send out there, brochures and stuff, then if it's worth the $275 or whatever, then, that's your call on that, then.
Yeah. Is
So
that
I
it?
got no problem with that, no motion that,
Okay.
at your discretion.
I'll second it.
At your discretion.
If we've got enough stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say that, yeah, I'll try to go ahead and explore the option of if any the local food trucks going, and then we may just,
Clean out the closet
that.
of all the stuff we
Mhm.
have. That's a chamber, what they call.
okay.
Get rid of.
Well, I don't think we can just send everything. I think it's just one brochure.
Yeah,
Is that
it's a
right?
brochure.
Oh, okay. We'll see
Distribute
what
one
we-
brochure and a video. Yeah, 30-second video
Well,
is
see what we
fine.
have.
But-
Still be.
It's only 500 copies and it's not worth it.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I understand. Well, hopefully we can get more printed. Hopefully I'll get changes in the next week and get it printed.
So are you saying that you'll go ahead, if it doesn't get printed, then you'll send what you have if there's enough to warrant the 275?
I would say so, yeah. I don't know that I don't know that we'll have enough to spend the 275. I will just say if I have updated brochures printed
Yeah, because I mean,
by,
I mean, we know we have
Indiana.
like 3/4 of a box
Yeah,
of brochures left.
What will the brochures cost us to print?
Oh gosh, each round of that, let me grab the spreadsheet here because it's in here.
And then James mentioned a rat card is in a different publication.
Yeah, marketing. Brochure printing, the last batch we did was around $2,000. Actually, around 1,100, excuse me.
for how many?
For, I wanna say it was 5,000.
So to make it worth it, how many brochures are most people sending? Because if there's 1 million people that come through there, you need a lot of brochures.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't even know if 5,000 would be enough.
I would
I mean, I don't know how many
assume-
people
Well,
take
it's
them.
like you said, you won't go to visit that.
yeah.
I think their million number is fair attendance. I don't think that's
Sure.
walking past the
Yeah.
Reed of Oklahoma booth.
Yeah.
So
So
would
that-
they give you a
I
recommendation
would-
though?
They
Surely
do
they
not.
know.
They
No.
don't, but I can ask. I mean, they don't in the paperwork, but I'll ask.
I mean, if it's something they say, you need to send us with 15,000
Yeah,
rack cards, then that might be cost prohibitive. But if they say only, 500 are taken, then it would be, something we could do.
okay.
And these, on the bottom line, it says, distribute one brochure in Oklahoma brochure display. So they're not even being handed out. It's, James, you gotta walk
Sure,
up
you
there
gotta
and
walk
get
in and take
it.
rack. Sure.
And so that's even, to me, that's even less of a percentage,
Yeah.
because we gotta hope.
I
1,000
honestly, I'd
people
send
walk up
one
and get it.
box. And I think a box is 1,500. Because it's, I might go halfway through, you never know. Anyway, I might go to the fair, or one of us might go to the fair, and if we're running low, I'd be happy to drive down more to them. So,
If they don't use them, do we give them back?
I would assume since this is with Travel OK, they do have them in their warehouse, and that's what they use for sending out,
Okay.
and travel centers and
I'd
all
say for
that.
half a case.
Yeah, I don't
in the
think they
trash.
just throw them away,
Okay.
but I can check. Did you second that or no?
I did.
Okay, do you wanna, well, we do have a motion and a second. Do we wanna
But
make
his,
any?
his
I
motion
think
was
so.
on whatever we could find,
Mhm,
and it's not, it's one brochure. So,
yeah,
to me, that motion wouldn't have to be changed,
true. Okay, well,
or not at all.
let's start again. Do we? Do I need to vote and then we throw that one out and then start over? I don't know enough of Robert's Rules of Order to do
Just
this
amend it.
properly.
Just-
Okay. Do you wanna edit the motion you made? Would you like to?
What did I say?
I
I think, no, I said, it's up to your discretion. If you think it's worth sending it, if we find enough brochures, if it's just one brochure and if there's enough, then go ahead and do it, if not. no.
Okay. All right.
And that's 275.
Okay. Do you?
And I'll second that same
Okay.
motion.
All
At
right.
your discretion for the $275 to be spent for the fair. Made in Oklahoma.
That is a good idea, see if Mary could be down
I
there.
think we could, let's vote.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I think whether it works or it doesn't work, either or, it probably wouldn't hurt to ask Mary if she would allow us to put that in
Yeah.
addition to, because I think that would get us some better exposure.
You know what I would do is ask if she is going, or we could just ask all of our local trucks if we buy them a magnetic rack card holder, if they would stick it on the side of their truck with brochures wherever they're at.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
If we would buy the rack, if we supply the rack,
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I'm sure they make a magnetic
Yeah, they do.
holder somewhere, and it would only have to be, one, so it wouldn't be very big. And see if they would just all let us buy a rack and give them a rack and brochures, and then they put them out whenever they stop. Because those trucks are all over the place.
Yeah, they are.
So,
I like that idea. I'll do it.
That's a good idea.
Thanks.
But especially if the fair is so busy and hectic, I wonder if we would offer, I don't know, I guess I'm offering myself, anybody to go down and make sure it's full, and you know how it could be gone
Yeah.
in the first hour and then nobody has time to check it. So that's just something to think about to keep it
Okay.
going too, because
yeah.
that's really visible. I like that idea. Put it on a food truck.
Yeah, that would be something I need to check with them regularly and make sure they've got plenty of stock.
Yeah.
So, and that it's not burdensome to them to keep it stocked. Okay, well, I think that's travel and trade shows. I think we said we're gonna revisit the rest on the list later on. I know for budgeting purposes, I just work with some general numbers off of what I suggested, but, we can always change that, so. All right, it doesn't change the total amount of our budget for next year, so that helps.
Keeping that at 8,000.
Well, we might be able to amend that, move things from other areas. That's still a line item change. What it's not doing, it's not pulling from general fund, or it's not taking away from parks. It's not. Those are the types of things that wouldn't change. We're not taking from any other areas. So we've pretty much got what we've got. So I know that differs from the general fund, where several departments are funded out of that. Hotel motel tax, we have what we have. So anyway, does that make sense?
Unless he was going to say he needs some extra money from somewhere from the city somewhere.
Yeah. Yes. Unless that happens. Well, are we ready to move on to discussion and possible action on logo apparel for trade shows and conferences? Any questions about the last item? I did some price snooping, I'll call it, price research on local printers and embroidery and what it costs. Keith and I doing trade shows and road shows and conferences and so forth. I'm happy to dress nicely and professionally and put a little Guthrie pin or sticker, Visit Guthrie sticker on my attire and go there. But I feel like having some, having each a polo, Keith having a polo embroidered with the logo, me having a polo embroidered with the logo, helps us look professional. It's pretty standard. Then too, having t-shirts that say "Ask Me About Guthrie" for when we have hospitality tables at Lazy E, or if we have volunteers going to any other events. I think those would be A, kind of incentive, B, you've kind of got somebody who then, when they're with our shirt, they're kind of acting as a tourism ambassador, and it lets people know who they are and what they represent when they have questions. So what are your thoughts on doing something like that?
Yes.
We need it.
Okay, good deal. All right,
So you would put what logo on
I would put the Visit Guthrie logo on the shirts. So if you wonder what that's like, you have a sticker with it. So that was what would be on the shirts. I'm probably thinking sky blue, just because I know this shows up so well on sky blue, but sky blue tends to not stain as easily as white. So, do we need to to set a cap for, I think, I should have totaled up, total cost for some of these.
So are you wanting, so I see there's embroidery and I also see there's,
Yeah,
so
embroidery.
do you want it embroidered or are you looking for?
What I'm looking for is 2 embroidered polos, one for Heath and one for myself. So 2 embroidered.
It looks like you have minimum of 12 body billboards and minimum of 24 for crossroads, is that right?
Those are for the printing
Okay.
costs. Embroidery, every place I've checked doesn't have a minimum for embroidery.
Okay.
So I'm looking at, 2 embroidered shirts. Those are cost a piece. And then printing, there's usually minimums of printing. So I would say we could probably just do, from the look of it, either cross threads or, well, heck, any of them for.
And then,
Well, Crossthreads does embroidery and printing, so does body billboards. But it looks like Crossthreads, the 12 to 15, that's for the shirt itself. Do they have a setup fee?
I didn't get one from
No.
Misha. She didn't
I
see.
mean, when
me
I've
have
done
one.
hats with her, there hasn't been a setup fee.
Okay.
Yeah, Heath would like an embroidered hat too,
I would.
actually.
If I can have one.
One
You
of
can have
these?
one. I didn't
No,
get
just
the
like a
prices,
walkout.
I didn't get a price for it though. I know you sent me the details, but I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
get a
right.
price for it by this meeting to do a hat.
Well, they said they could do hats with that.
Okay, so you need, how many polos are you wanting?
2 embroidered polos.
you might want to get a few extra, like if the volunteer goes down, just into
Are you
lot of
thinking? Well, I know.
McAllister, is it Carolyn? She went down to McAllister. Kathy?
Kathy
Kathy
Cordes?
Cordes?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I didn't know if the ask me about Guthrie t-shirts would suffice for that. So I'm not having to keep track of who has them but I don't know. I mean, yeah. How do we wanna approach that then? Cause mine was just gonna be paid staff, go ahead and do embroidered polos. Anybody who volunteers, give them a t-shirt.
Yeah,
That works.
so you need to get some extra.
Yeah,
That's fine.
well, with the t-shirts, I think the minimum order, as I said, is 12 for most places. It's 24 for cross-thread. So that would be probably some extra. I'd probably get, 2 or 3 of each sizes.
I love
I might go ahead and order 24. I don't know how much we wanna do. But yeah, 2 embroidered polos and a minimum of 12 shirts, but I didn't know if we should set up a maximum cost for all this. I should have calculated the proposal for that a little bit better.
So on the printing, is the printing price the same, whether it's embroidered or whether it's printed?
No, well, what do you mean? Yeah, if you,
In other words, you're gonna pay let's say you go to T-shirt Nerds, are you paying $9.50 whether you embroider it or
No,
whether you
no.
print it?
They only
T-shirts
offer
nerds-
embroider or
T-shirts
printing.
nerds don't do embroidery.
Oh.
they only
okay.
do printing.
But doesn't it matter how many colors you have?
Yes,
Because
all my
these are all
printing,
one color.
all
I
my
think-
printing is one color. Would you guys rather have full color? I can,
I think you should do full color.
I do too. If you're gonna
I mean,
do it
if you're gonna do it
right.
right, yeah.
okay.
So I think it needs to be full color.
I know embroidery is full color, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to re-quote this or before, and come back or?
You want that professional look, so it has to look rich.
So when's the first event that you're gonna be needing these for?
Well, I don't, well,
Thursday.
they're not gonna be done by the media. They're not gonna be done by the media blitz this Thursday, so, I would assume in my
Well, I would
schedule.
order, I mean, unless someone else has another idea, I'd go ahead and order your embroidered shirts, because there's only 2 options here. And Crossthreads doesn't have a setup fee, so they're obviously gonna be a little bit cheaper. Their t-shirt, not their t-shirt, but their, polos look like they have could be a little bit less, but get a quality polo, don't get
Yeah.
don't get a t-shirt type
Right,
material,
yeah,
get a
yeah.
nice polo. And I would would say go ahead and get those ordered. And then your t-shirts, since you want to do full color, I'd go ahead and get an enterprise quote from Cafe Press. That's online, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
don't
just
even
kind
mess
of
with them.
generally,
I would go back to T-shirt Nerds, Body Billboards, and Crossroads and see how much they would charge you to do a full color
okay.
T-shirt.
Because I talked
That's-
about even two-sided print, asked me about Guthrie, and on the back have the logo and website. Doing front and back. I don't know what you guys think of that, or even switch it, have the logo on the front and ask me about Guthrie on the back.
I think you could do Ask Me About Guthrie in a single color if you want it on the back, but then I would just do that on the front.
In a polo shirt.
Or even on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You do that, and then if you wanted to Ask Me About Guthrie on the back.
Okay, do I take that as your motion, that you
I'll
move that we
second
order
that.
2 polos now and get quotes for full color, with the full color logo on the front and Ask Me About Guthrie on the back? Thank you, Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. This is the big part of our meeting, event support structuring. So, did all of you read through kind of some of our options and what do you think? I mean, I have some recommendations, but I want to listen to what you have and, yeah. See what you think.
Well, based on what I found after our last meeting, I think we ought to do some kind of percentage.
I was gonna recommend that too, either
Huh?
50-50 or 60-40
Yeah.
split. They get a percentage of their requested or approved funding up front, and then once they turn in the post-event report, they get the rest if they've met
Certain
the criteria
Yeah.
that they agreed to meet.
I mean, but that's based on what I found off last year's Victorian report, that they did not spend the money appropriately.
I'm not opposed to a 60-40 or 50-50.
Okay.
I like the 50-50, but I'll go with whatever.
So what criteria would you have in place that you have to reach this?
I still think, since our money is relying on hotels and the hotel and motel tax, I still think there's gotta be some kind of parameters as to how many heads and beds are you gonna put in Guthrie.
I was gonna hand out, let me pass this out, because that might help.
Let me ask you a question.
There is
We had Little Bridges, did we do any research for the hotels or anything? What feedback did you get from them?
Latimer County, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say Latimer County Tourism uses a metric to score groups, based on criteria. Everyone's scored by the same thing to see kind of what they get. Well, first of all, I think we need to, before we start, we need to know what our purpose is of the program. Is it all of these things I listed? Is it to attract and help new events? Is it to provide support for tourism assets? Is it to build the community? Is it all of those things?
What are we looking at the budget for this being for next year?
Next year's budget for that, I should have brought it in my big notes.
Last 2 years here's been 50,000 basically, right? Was it on these events?
For events?
I don't think so. I think it's been, let me look, because it's on that big spreadsheet.
I'm just taking a look at your event support and sponsorship history page.
Ah,
Is
okay.
49,987 in 2016 and 48,913. So if those are the events, I mean,
Yeah, this year's budget for special events, I wanna say it was 33,000, once we moved some
That is
money
right.
around.
So where does this number, I mean, what's the difference between that budget and this actual
I think,
Lazy E?
hold on, I'm sorry, I brought so much paperwork to try to be prepared for this.
How are you?
Huh?
She told us this.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
No.
she's talking about off the budget sheet.
That's where the 33's come
Yeah.
from.
33,
Yeah.
Where's the difference here then on this 50,000 and that 33?
Is the 50,000 on where? Where's the?
On your event history
Oh, the
of what we've actually given out.
That summary sheet.
This FY17 equal 50,000?
48,913. 48,913.
Okay.
And the prior year, 49.
Yeah, Lazy E. Yeah, I know Lazy E's some of it. We also took, thank you. We also took, what was it? The Bluegrass sponsorship out of marketing versus sponsorships and for events and Pollard Theater as well.
Now, if I'm reading this right, though, the big special events was 29,089 last year. Or for 2015-16 on page 2. Am I looking at that right?
Yeah.
So that's what we actually spent 15-16. Our budget for this year was 33. And year-to-date, we've spent 21,848 on special events. Am I reading those numbers right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. With another 7,000 to come, that's
Okay.
leaving us encumbered. Yeah.
Well, I know I did, okay, so this spreadsheet, this little one, I put in not only event support, but sponsorships.
Okay.
So this ones that are sponsorships are Lazy E, OIBF/Bluegrass. I want to wait. Yeah. Pollard Theater, the Sports Museum.
Okay. Start over if you don't mind.
Okay.
For the
no problem.
for the sponsorship.
Sponsorships included Lazy E,
Okay,
OIBF,
okay,
Pollard Theater, the Sports Museum.
okay. So that's 18,300. That puts us down around 30,000, 31,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. I'm glad you saw that. I didn't mark that when I did the sponsorship history because we don't have a really hard line about between which is which. You know?
And just one question on the fireworks, with the 1,736 spent. I didn't realize that we had expenses. When the gentleman came and talked to us, they weren't asking for anything, is that right? Or
We just paid for the insurance policy.
Yeah,
that's
we
what
paid
it
for
is.
insurance,
That's what-
yeah.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
And Leroy, boy, 2,000 is an awful cheap number to put on a
Oh
community
my
fireworks
gosh.
show for that.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, we
It's
sponsored
fantastic.
sponsored the insurance for them.
I know I guess we're gonna talk about what that should look like, right? Or what the criteria should look like for sponsoring again in the future.
Well, not even just the criteria. We need to know, what is this program about? Why are we doing it?
I mentioned
What
this
is the purpose and
probably
how should we run it?
year one, before
Yeah.
we started, I mean, we did all of these things. What if we talked about foregoing giving money to all of these events, and we kept the money for one event, and we tried to we recreate a similar, granted, our budget won't do what it did in whatever year, 12, whenever Gentleman Road was here, but a big concert in the flats that will actually legitimately bring a lot of people to town.
I think it's good, but what the problem is we don't have the staff to produce it.
Okay.
Our staff doesn't have the time to produce a big event, to attract big names, to do all the work that needs to be done.
I'm just curious if we partnered again with maybe a production company, said this isn't our budget, what could we get for that amount?
You mean like revisit Mumford and Sons?
Yeah, like, I mean, if we had a really big event one time a year that people came to know that you're going to that music festival.
Well, what happens to it the year after? Do we say, well, we did that event, so next year we don't do it again?
No,
Next
he's
year
saying-
we do
No, I'm
something
saying
different,
yearly.
something different each year?
He's saying yearly. Do
Yearly, like that's what the CVB
do
does.
some
That's
type
what we're known
of, some
for.
type of
Produce a
music
event.
event every year.
That's the
Yeah.
event, yeah, and then we know that that's gonna create heads and beds, we know that that weekend will always be a bump.
I think the challenge to that is the unintended consequences of the remaining organizations on this list, and if they wither and die,
Which is a community effort.
what happens? I mean, I think, James, I think the concept is really good, but if these then wither and die, and I'm not saying that they would, but if they did, I guess we need to understand the financial viability of all of these others before we would say, we're no longer giving you any money, I would think.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about, how long do you give an organization money, or is it something that you feel, I mean, some of these we changed to just sponsorships because we felt like we're gonna give money to them every year, or that's what we seem to have given money to them, so now we're calling a sponsorship versus a event support. So, I mean, I don't know, I just think that it's, I think that the goal for every event would be to eventually sustain itself financially. That you're kind of, there should be I mean, you have these questions on here. Have we given to them before? Is it a new business venture? Are we promoting existing? And even on your point scale, if it's new, it gets more 5 points. If it's existing, it only gets 2 for Latimer County. So obviously, Latimer County is trying to utilize this money to boost new activities and not existing activities. I mean, I don't know, it's just a discussion. I'm not saying
Yeah.
one or the other, I'm just,
Well, and I like Latimer County's question, what percentage of your total project budget are they accounting for? Or are they asking for help from the trust fund authority from?
right.
Because I think if we knew that up front on some of these groups, we'd be going, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and the other thing is, I think it ought to be declining. You know, you give them 3 years or 4 years, especially if it's new and they just keep coming back for the same thing, then what else are they doing? Or they just know we're the golden goose and we're not.
Yeah, I don't think we should be the bank account to keep these other events going year. I mean, they should be working, their organization should be working to claim less and less and become more self-sufficient. Is my thoughts.
So how does a free event like Red Brick Nights, do they just get more grants,
Get more sponsors.
sponsors, I mean?
I mean, we went from totally being funded last year, well, we did have John Vance, to this year, only about half being sponsored by the city.
I mean, your money went down by 1/3.
So,
You went from 16 to 5, from 17 to 6, so.
Well, and with that, here's a question. I would almost say that I sometimes look for opportunities for us to have a booth at, like these travel shows and things. You know, I wonder if we could could still offer a sponsorship to show city support. If we're approached for something like that, and maybe that'd be a separate thing than going through this event support program. That we set this up for, you know, for newer kinds of events, and others we could, I don't know. I
I
mean,
think
we
our-
have a general idea of some of our, major events, we have this sheet.
I think our job needs to be just to get the people in town.
Well, I think if we look at what our current, and I'm not trying to be negative, but Border Bash, that's at Lazy E, right?
Mhm.
The calf roping, Chris Neal's, is that Lazy E?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we have IMBA, is that at the Lazy E?
Yes.
What is that?
That is an International
International-
Miniature Bull Riders Association.
Okay, yeah,
They
okay.
still haven't finished their application, and I haven't got a hold of anybody in their organization, so at this point, it's just withdrawn.
And then we have the Lazy E, and then we have an NLBRA, that's at the Lazy E.
Yeah, but they didn't get any money this year. They didn't ask us
No,
for
they
any.
didn't,
No.
they gave us advertising in a booth, so.
I mean, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I don't wanna ignore the Lazy E, because I think they do bring a lot of events, but, or have a lot of events into town, but I don't know.
A large proportion of our budget, of our event support budget is going towards events there. And I don't, to me, I would rather, I don't know, I mean, do we want those people, I mean, that one guy gave a report, I forget if it was Porter Bash or Chris Neal, who it was, who had a wonderful report on how many people were coming into town, eating here, shopping here, based on their event at Lazy E. But, I don't know.
Well, for Chris, was it Chris Neal?
Chris
Yeah.
Neal, Guthrie.
I could tell you, for the motel side, he didn't do nothing. For the restaurants, he might have. For the motel portion, and I talked to the other motels, there was nothing there. Straight off the bat. You know, the
Well-
restaurants might have been good.
I'm hearing
Well,
that
we
there's
know-
kind of some support though for saying overnight visitor stays is a metric that we want to include when we're awarding event support. Is that, or at least
I think
give
that's
some
hard to
additional,
judge.
additional weight to that? I don't know. That is a very common thing that, you know, they give preference to ones that generate overnight stays, or who draw from outside of a 20-mile radius. A percentage of their visitors, and they could go either or. We give preference to either overnight stays or reach, just because those people are more likely to stay, which helps, you know, helps us do more because we have more to work with. I know, according to how the tax was written, it is for the promotion of tourism, so it doesn't say overnight stays. It does not say, and we are not setting that. That will go before council, but before I draft some policy, I need some guidance on what to put in
Well, but the reality is, with the hotel motel tax being a significant generator,
it. Yeah.
the heads and beds, heads and beds is an important metric.
If it weren't for heads and beds, the CB would have no money.
Well, I think we could include that as a metric as well as visitors. You know, to do a total. What do you think?
Well, I think like you said, I think that first recommended purpose of the program, I think you almost have to
We have to define.
lay that down first, and then everything else I think would fall in place.
Attract new events.
Well, I mean, just any of, I mean, do we
Or
wanna,
any of those.
do we wanna track it?
Any of those bullets.
Yeah,
Do we want to focus on any one of these?
I mean, why are we,
Yeah,
what is our purpose of our money?
with event support.
Yeah, and I think after you answer one of those bullet points, then I think all your other bullet points, I would think would fall into place.
I should have got out the flip chart and wrote on it in marker and said, here's, comment right up, write what you believe the purpose is, or put a check by what you know, so that we all could participate, but,
Because like if we say it's number 2, then we're giving money to the museums and, you know, to the Pollard, you know. So it would depend
Yeah,
on
is
what our
that-
focus
Is our support for new and existing tourism assets, does that fall under events, under, or under marketing? That's a question we probably should ask already. Whether it's, because I know even before I was here, they had portions, they had the event support that was going towards events, but then they had marketing sponsorships that was going out of marketing to some of the same organizations. They'd split it up. They saw it as
I would say you only get to dip into the well once.
I would agree.
I mean, you can either have a sponsorship or we can support the event, but we can or won't do both.
I would agree.
I would think nonprofit would be the other thing we just need to zero in on, and, you know, cause all these guys, you know, the more I thought about with Lazy E, they're all profit groups out there, they're all out there to make a buck.
Well, I will say that I've been approached by a couple groups who are for-profit production companies, and if we don't, you know, they've asked us for a sponsorship and for, and we do have to get something in return for money we give. That's state statute, whether it's event support funding or marketing. We have to get something in response, and it can't just be, oh, well, there's a community benefit, or oh, you get tax dollars. No, it has to be a, you know, either use of logo or advertising or booth or something. We have to do that by state statute through use of tax dollars. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't know if
Well,
we
that
wanna
would throw like
turn
the
down-
Pollard out. If we really just did nonprofit, we wouldn't give any money to the Pollard.
Well, Pollard's nonprofit.
Pollard's a nonprofit.
Oh, is it? So,
I mean, I guess my thing is if we have a for-profit tourism asset that's a really good one, do we say, and they want to do something big, do we say, sorry, you're out of luck? I don't know if Gentlemen of the Road was a nonprofit.
Well, I was gonna say, we wouldn't have done anything
Yeah,
for.
we wouldn't have done anything if Gentlemen on the Road.
For Gentlemen on the Road.
We wouldn't have, yeah. So, I think, to
Well,
me,
what's-
I'd rather not define that. But
What's
I do
your-
think we can require, budget financial stuff, and we find out that they, you know, and I do agree that we should do a split, and I agree that we should probably do a maximum of what people can apply for, set a maximum amount of what any one, entity can apply for in a fiscal year. And I believe that we need to, do a declining scale of what we give those. I don't think we'll ever go to, 0%, you know, but, I think we could change over to, after so many years, they better have a sponsorship package that we could choose from that they present to us versus, they just get funds to get their event started. Does that make sense?
Well, unless you're planning on changing the numbers every year, I think you need to do it as a percentage. If you're gonna put a max or a cap, it needs to be done as a percentage for the budget for events or the budget for marketing, so that we know that number, but otherwise you'll be changing it every year based on.
Good point.
And I think the sponsorships need to, our sponsorship rules need to be outlined as to what are we getting for what. Or here's what, or we set the guidelines for sponsorships, here's the sponsorships we can get, and here's what we need for those sponsorships. I don't know if we can do that, but
That's an idea. I mean, it's saying
I
at
mean,
this
I would
level,
think-
we'd get our logo and we get this and we get that at that, like a brochure, and at that level, we get a booth and a, you know,
do you have the guidelines that city council lined out that you've shown me before? You know what I'm talking about?
we don't have guidelines the city council lined out, actually. That's what I've got to propose
Well,
after this
whatever-
meeting.
what is that?
So- But I have the, we're
Like
waiting
that
for-
shows that we're only to be marketing tourism, that you given me that paper before.
Ah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking
That was
about?
council goals for last year. I know they had the retreat, and I don't know if there were any goals set for tourism.
There wasn't a change.
Yeah,
Do you
There
have
wasn't
those?
a change.
I do not.
I think if you have those, I think if you read those, I think that would
I
maybe
think those are
help.
just broad, very broad, and so
Yeah.
they're not specific enough to give us what we need for me to write a policy for this program.
Well, but I think, we're not talking about the same thing.
Okay, maybe not.
Because like one of them, there was one that lined out CVB is to market, to get people into town. And then, I don't know, it was a
Oh, it
two-page,
might have been my job description.
it was a two-page
My council.
that had, and you highlighted them for me.
Okay.
But
Well, I mean, this is what I have that we require so far, you know, our application,
Right.
which is in your packet.
But I think this was
You're talking
for the
about-
CVB in general, for this organization.
Okay, it might have been the ordinance that formed the CVB.
I don't remember. I don't remember, but I know like, because I know because we've talked about like that one, because remember, because
Mhm.
it says that the CVB's main job is to get people into town. And like you said, it doesn't say anything about getting people here to spend the night. It doesn't say anything about getting people here to do anything. It's, our job is to market to get people into town.
Yeah.
And so,
So how can we use this program, an event support program, to do that? How do we want to do that? I'm just trying to start some discussion here and get some, 'cause anybody want to throw out some ideas? I know we've had one idea from James Long about, you know, finding production company to produce a large event. We've had, you know, another idea to say, you know, we need to go ahead and support some local assets, but, say some.
How many beds do we have? Do you know total rooms in Guthrie?
Too many.
Well, I know, but how many, do you know?
Well, here you go, let's see, I got 77, I think next door 66, 90, about 70, and about 60.
Does it include bed and breakfast, or just
No.
big
No,
hotel?
just the big hotel. Because my question would be, I mean, if you were to fill all those rooms up for an entire weekend for a Friday and Saturday night, how big of an event would you have to have? And then how much money would you generate if you sold yourself out for an entire weekend? How much money do you have to spend to do that? I mean, maybe it's not all our budget. I mean, maybe you get these casinos are doing these names all the time. So, I mean, how much money are they spending? I mean, there's gotta be, you know, and if you've got a multiple day, you know, if you've got a Friday night and a Saturday night headliner, I mean, people would stay. So how much is it that you gotta spend to get that?
How many rooms did you get?
We got about 450.
So how much, that would be a question. Surely there's somebody that can answer that question. How big of an event would you have to have in order to sell out 450 hotel rooms?
What does Bluegrass Weekend end up being? How much?
and they all
No,
stay.
But they
Bluegrass
stay, they
is
bring
high.
their beds.
It's tents, you know,
Yeah.
campers and tents.
So, I mean, we love the event and we give money to
Yeah,
the event,
which
but
is
it doesn't generate.
That's why I was
see-
just curious how many stayed up there, because I didn't know.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I know a
They
lot
have
of
their
lazy
hospitality.
events
yeah.
does
easy.
do generate.
You know, the
quite a
time
few.
trial in March is probably their biggest one for the hotels. The one March, first week in March. You know, that fills the motels, that time trial.
So average room rate for the night?
Well, right now it's, I would say $75.
So that's $33,750.
And our hotel motel tax is how much?
4%.
4%.
12, how,
4%.
I'm sorry.
4%. And then 9%.
That's 1,350.
Well, and we get 66%.
66%.
We get 2/3 of that, not the full 4%.
So about $900.
And
If
And
we
then
filled
times
every-
two if you did it 2 nights, right?
So it'd be about $1,800 if we fill every hotel room in the city for 2 nights.
There'd
We
be a
would-
lot spent to generate.
We would net
that.
1,800, yeah, that's,
So that's what, I mean, so we generate 1,800. I don't know how much sales tax
Sales
additionally
tax,
that we've
yeah.
generated for the city. I mean, that's another goal. Obviously, we can only generate
Sure.
what we have for rooms.
Right.
But if we could generate a significant sales tax for the city, that would be,
And that's a key to any event here.
sure,
You know,
absolutely.
it's the sales tax of restaurants or whatever here in town. You know, that's what's gonna drive it.
Well, then that
Because-
moves you away from the heads and beds of being the most significant metric.
Yeah,
Well,
and you gotta understand, the sales tax goes to the city.
Sure.
You know, that's what will make,
Yeah, I don't know that it needs to be the most significant metric. I just think it needs to be a metric.
Metric.
Do you
Well-
like the idea of creating some kind of, well, if we go with an event support program as similar to what we in other cities do, do you want me to create some kind of, like Latimer County did, scoring sheet? Would that be helpful?
I like this sheet. I mean, the thing with this is, though, it'd be nice to have all of them at once, all your applications at once, to know who you award to. Otherwise, you do a scoring sheet, somebody scored low, you award it to them, then 3 months down the road, you score someone, they score high, and you don't have as much money to give them.
well, do it quarterly or
That-
something.
but that's where she's got, do we do it quarterly, annually, or monthly?
And, you know, my fear is I really want to move away from annually because honestly, there's some, for example, there's a teen book convention coming in
Yeah.
October. I don't know if you guys
There's
know
a
about
what?
that.
About it, yeah.
Teen book convention. It's the first one
Writers
held by the
write for
entire
teens.
state. They've got, I don't know if you've heard the movie The Revenant, the author who wrote that book that it's based off of will be here in Guthrie. Tickets are free and it's at the Scottish Rite Center. They didn't get me sponsorship information because they were afraid it was too late. I went ahead and had it send it. It was too late for this agenda and I'm planning to bring it next month. But if we had said, well, in this application period, we have to have it the first part of the year, that event came along, I don't know that we would, you know, we couldn't even consider it.
But I know
I don't
they're
know,
seeking out, I
$20
mean, I personally gave them $1,000, so I don't know, I mean, they're seeking, I know they had a huge sponsorship packet that went out, so I mean, did they meet their goal or?
I
how
don't
much?
know where they are with it.
Okay.
I think that they were still seeking sponsors last I talked. They don't know where they'll be by the meeting next month, so, but it was just too late to get on this agenda, so. Anyway,
So there's no request from them.
no, there's no request from them, but we would have an option to put our logo on things and distribute brochures if we do a sponsorship. Or just put our logo on things. Anyway, it's not on the agenda for tonight, so.
But it's
Yeah.
predicting thousands,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And-
we're predicting thousands.
They're getting people from all over.
Uh-huh.
How many visitors are they expecting to?
It's big.
I didn't prepare it for this meeting, so
Well,
I don't
okay.
have
No,
the
I just-
information. I'm so
A
sorry.
lady was talking about it at the last chamber coffee.
see.
She had some big numbers, and I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But she's
They
very.
were bigger, big.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know.
I'm thinking.
But I think Andrea's point though is if we go to an annual thing,
Oh, I'm not,
That-
I'm just,
that-
I'm not saying annual, but I mean, I'm thinking versus doing it monthly, if we score these quarterly, then like James said, we can compare request A to request B with
With the funds available.
the funds available with a score sheet. And if there's only enough money to give one event, the money, we take it based on
Yeah, that's correct.
the best score sheet and best follow through.
My experience in various service organizations, Lions and so forth, is doing an annual budget, doing it once a year is a lot easier to budget for that. Now, that's not to say that I'm in favor of doing it once a year, but it sure makes the budgeting aspect of it a whole lot easier. I have been in organizations where we've done quarterly, Mike, and let's just say you had $10,000 each quarter, and then you're in the last quarter, and you're giving it to organizations that probably don't have a real good product simply because there isn't other competition. And so you run into a little bit of that too. There's not a foolproof way to do it. I mean, I think that's what I've discovered. But it is simpler if you do it one time, because you know how much money you get, and then you just have to say to the other organizations that come in afterwards and say, we've already distributed our money for the year. I know as when I was doing 89er stuff, going around to corporates, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, if you were a month late in some of the corporates, you're waiting till next year. Because we distributed all our money. And again, I'm not saying that that's right, I'm just.
No, but that's how they do it.
Yeah, because it's easier.
I mean, I know that from my business experience. If you wanted stuff done when I worked for big retailers, you better have that budget request on somebody's desk on the 2nd of January.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you may not get that done for the year.
Or you take 80% of that budget, spend it, and reserve 20% for
Something
special.
like that.
I do like the tracking that Latimer County uses. I like it's pretty specific. If you're completing that, it's pretty black and white what you need to put in there for the.
And I know we've talked to this one under funding cap, eligibility based on the city's needs. Are we gonna take that into consideration of what the city's already given them?
Well, anything that we do legally starts when we start doing it according to whatever we set. It doesn't go retroactive.
Right.
So that means, for example, that if we created a policy this year, for how special events the program should be administered, and then 89ers comes back next year, we would start them off at the first year applicant rate.
Okay.
Because it doesn't, I believe legally we don't go retroactive with anything. It's just because it wasn't in place before, so they aren't subject to it prior to it, it being in place.
No, but they do have the benefit of having history, so they should be able to fill out the forms and give us the best information. Any event, whether it be art line or red brick or whatever, they should be able to have.
Well, but I think I was saying is like the overtime and all of that. Like for 89ers, we gave them thousands of dollars, the city, in police manpower and city manpower and streets manpower. Are we gonna calculate, if they want $10,000 and the city's already given them $5 in police support, are we gonna still give them 10?
Well, that
So I
could
don't-
be,
I don't know
is that
if-
a metric that we'd be interested in?
I mean, that's
Are
what
there
I'm
some
saying
metrics
is,
we
I know
want to
we've
put
talked
in?
about that in the past, and you have it listed is that something that we wanna be based on? And so,
When I talked to Leroy about that after one of the 89ers meetings or something, I thought the impression I got was he was still evaluating that. Because there's some events that cannot go without police being present, and there's other events that they can go without police being present. So, but I don't know that he was gonna sit there and tell the groups, if they come to us and say, we need 10 grand, and he's gonna put 5 of it's gonna pay for the police.
Well, clearly there's a desire for the events to understand how much the city is investing in supporting their event, just for general knowledge, so that they know, because I don't think that is on anybody's
I don't think it's on anybody's radar.
Well, no,
You
not
know,
until this
and-
year.
And it needs to be, it just needs to be an understanding that.
But I don't think it would be fair to 89ers, that's a multi-day event, and then Saturday you have a parade, and you have to have all this extra police manpower. I don't think it'd be fair to 89ers
Well,
because it's a parade.
but that was one of the things Leroy was talking about. That's an event where you really can't get away with saying, you gotta pay for your own police, or, I can't remember what event I saw, and there were no police around in the last, and Job Corps was out there, sort of monitoring the roadblocks and stuff.
I don't think you'll see that.
Not for 89ers.
Not for, I don't think for hardly any, I can't imagine any event in the city.
Well,
The Job Corps out there
the
without police.
the Bluegrass Festival, not as police, but just gate people,
Yeah.
gate police.
Anyway, there is we need to figure out a way to make.
That's a different conversation
Yeah.
about city services and support. I mean, it is related to this one.
You could
I didn't know if we
put,
were gonna
could
tackle
we
both
put
of
it,
them,
could we
but-
put it on the score sheet though?
Is that something at all level, is that something the city council has to decide on?
Well, I think all of this is really is just making recommendations for me to draft a policy to go before city council.
But could we put that on the score sheet, Andrea?
Yeah, I would believe so.
What is your
yeah.
estimated cost of city services needed for your event?
What city services do you need?
Or what city, and then,
Water
Which is
hookup?
also,
It's already out there.
it's on the application for
Yeah.
street closure, so we would just need to be able, we should review their special use application along with our application.
I believe they'll be able to estimate the cost, but they can't estimate.
Because I mean, it
Right,
has to
yeah.
be barricades, you
Sure.
what all do you need?
Yeah,
You need
they can
police.
estimate needs, yeah. The cost varies, that's what I'm
Right.
finding out. Well, okay, so what are some metrics that we're interested in scoring on? Dan, you're laughing.
I mean, I don't
Okay.
understand why we couldn't take Latimer County and change it to City of Guthrie Tourism Trust,
Yeah,
or
that-
tourism, whatever, CBB.
Does that answer your question of, when you're asking about that, I mean, is James answering your question?
see, I like
As
that.
far as.
But not this with
Yeah.
our title.
It sounds like you're asking one thing, and we're trying to get you to, I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm off the page.
you're trying to go before the city council and tell them what the CVB's
Recommendation is regarding this program.
mission
And I-
statement, mission
I think
statement,
that's
or.
I think this is our
Right,
program,
that's
we
the point.
evaluate if the program is bringing in out-of-county residents or
That's-
out-of-city residents. We are evaluating, does this project have a timeline which would result in individuals consuming one or more meals while attending an event? So I would take these, I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't reinvent the wheel, I would
That's
just say
right.
we're evaluating these items to assess whether or not an event would qualify for CVB participation funds.
Okay,
I agree.
I mean, I think you brought it to us.
okay.
And then leave the application the same?
No, I would make your application based around this, because this is how you're evaluating them.
That's what-
These are the questions you need to ask them. You need to say, is your project bringing out-of-city residents into Guthrie? Does your project have a timeline which would typically result in individuals consuming more than one meal?
But if they answered it all on there, do we need an application?
Well, it isn't, I mean, this is the,
That's
It's
that's
one
our
and the
metric,
same.
that's our scoring metric.
You're talking about
By
changing this to
adapting
be
the-
our application.
correct. Yeah, I mean, whatever our application is now needs to reflect this.
Right.
And I'm sure some of that information that's on our current application would apply, and I don't know that we have 8 questions on our current application.
Right.
But if we don't have these questions, these are the questions we need to be asking them, because this is how we're gonna be judging them.
I guess my next thing too is do we want to set any other criteria such as an award split, a cap, anything like that?
What do you mean on awards?
Like 50% up front and 50% when they turn.
Oh, I definitely think-
Oh, if we could have a policy that say we disperse, I mean, if everyone's up for it, it doesn't,
Yeah, that's what
50%
I'm
is
trying to
dispersed
decide is what.
up front,
yeah,
and the remaining 50% is dispersed when you turn in your
Post-event report.
post-event
Yep.
report.
Because that'll make them turn in the post-event report much quicker.
And then would it decline every year? Then would the support decline every year?
I mean, by this proposal, they would get fewer points, but it doesn't mean that it would be declined.
would also have their post-event report, so if they're telling you, yeah, we're expecting 1,000 people in town, and they get the post-event report and said, you know, we only got 500, well then,
Also, it would tell you if their event, grew every year. They brought 500 people to town last year. This year they're expecting 1,500. Then you know that your dollars were invested wisely because their
Yeah,
event
you
has
might
grown.
wanna put a little more into them if they're doing bigger and better things growing, so.
It's just a way to.
So instead of coming to them with this 8-question format for the application, you're trying to put together the policy statement, which they've also provided? Is that what you're saying? I mean, this policy statement, to me, sounds like what you're looking for, and that, all this does is explain the questions that they've, will
I
that
guess
work?
I'm looking for both.
Well, I mean, you got both.
I think it
Okay.
is. I think it's all
Yeah.
here.
I mean, is there anything going through the policy statement, is there anything that you see that you'd change?
What's the policy statement? Stuff was sent out.
Yes. And it appears to be about a page and a half.
Well, I'd be happy to take that and draft things up and get it back to you in September. Is that all right?
It's great with me.
Okay. And I'll probably aim for 50-50 split and have metrics. And I kind of want to create a worksheet for the post-event report. Most cities provide that with their application packet. So it kind of guides the applicant versus just the little bullet points we have on ours. To give them some specific things, it's easy to, well, I don't know if it's easy, but they know what's expected from them to fill it out, kind of like they do our application. Okay, thanks for bearing with me through all that, and Dan, thanks for wading through the 2 issues.
It's good.
Get that. Is there any more discussion on event support? Okay. I'll plan to bring that back in September. Okay. Discussion of future items. Obviously, this event support is one. I know Christmas lights, is that still something you want to discuss, James?
Yeah, I would like to.
yes, absolutely.
I know I didn't get it on this one because I wanted to focus on it.
Are we gonna invite them back,
Probably not until October.
just because of the discrepancy?
I can let them
Like
know.
what, the Christmas tree
about
light people?
that.
Yeah, they only spent $5,000 last year of our $8,000 on Christmas tree lights.
What they spend the other 3 on?
Well,
I need to ask them, and I will ask
They
them to
never
have that
said.
information before they come back to us.
but considering they want more money this year, I'm sort of, because James, you brought it up last year, that we're trying to help them get over the hump.
Right.
And they apparently cut a deal with the tree decorator and didn't bother telling anyone.
Maybe we need to pay the tree decorator direct.
Direct.
Well,
Well, I know this year their request is for television advertising, not tree
Wow.
lights for the tree. Or at least this upcoming fiscal year,
as far as
so.
I'm concerned, they already got $3,000 out of us from last year for their advertising. Do we want to put on, since we have bluegrass, we got bluegrass coming up. And I know we're gonna meet sort of late, but do we want to do Facebook or giveaways for that weekend in October? When we have what is it? Guthrie Escape. And what else we got going that weekend?
It's not the same weekend. though.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
escapes the
They're two-
weekend
they're
prior,
two
but
separate
yeah, we could
weekends.
do.
No,
But we could still do a giveaway package, is what you're saying. right?
yeah, because you said what, there were four events that one weekend of the Guthrie Escape?
Mhm. Yeah, 5K, 5KMS, Guthrie Escape,
And a
our
thing,
a Western dressage.
So yeah, we need to have that on our agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Giveaway and Facebook promotion.
and we'll do one for that weekend and and Bluegrass if we can.
Speaking of which, I know this is kind of more staff comments, but I am planning to buy some restaurant gift cards for Heath for the Media Blitz. He's doing August 24th. I probably should have put that on here, but usually I just pick a restaurant and we go get $20 or $50 or whatever. And I know Scaregrounds is donating 5 2-packs of passes for the Media Blitz giveaways. So that's when Heath goes around to all the media areas in Northeast and hands them each packet, and they do giveaways on air. And anything remaining from that, we could use to build out a
And are
Facebook
we
package
do-
as well.
Oh, wait, I was just gonna say, are we doing a booth at Range Roundup this weekend?
Is it a Lazy East sponsored event?
Yes.
I don't think I don't have plans for one.
Okay.
Usually, we haven't arranged, I mean, a booth isn't part of our contract with,
It's not like
With
what it was.
lazy-
I thought it was, I thought we
I
got.
thought-
well,
it
we
was.
can put brochures, I didn't know it was a booth. I thought it was more like a
I thought we had a
brochure
booth at every
thing.
event. I thought that was part of our 10,000.
I'll double check the contract, but I know that we got the video ad and the flag ran around the arena and the banners and,
Brochures on every seat.
brochures, yeah,
We
we
can
wanna
put
go put
brochures on the
brochures on
seat.
every seat. But I didn't think it was yeah, and billboard. But
Which
I
is
don't
sort of out of
recall
place,
a
actually.
booth.
Okay.
I'll check for the booth.
Out of place,
So, no.
not visible.
Anyway, other future items, so we've got event support, draft, the Christmas lights, and the Guthrie Escape and Facebook social media, and OIBF, those giveaway packages. Anything else?
Can we put budget, because by the time we meet again, he'll have the budget finalized. So can we maybe, not a long discussion, but James,
Sure.
do you have an issue with that if we have a budget
No, I think
discussion?
No, I think we should do it.
Yeah, especially because if I need to make any last minute
Changes.
adjustments to put more into event support or more into marketing or whatever, that'd be the time to do it, so Kim doesn't have to adjust the line items later.
Because they will have had the workshop or the public hearing on it by the time we meet again.
Yeah.
So is it gonna be like a line item for new events? See, like the one,
No,
how would you
it's
have done it
just,
with, like for the hub world?
it's pretty much the same that it is. It's pretty much, divided into special events, professional development, conventions and trade shows, and marketing.
So we just get it out there if something would come
Yeah, I think that's one of those things, yeah, if I would like some direction on whether to take, some sponsorships out of marketing, or whether they need to go out of event support. But I don't know if that's something we wanna define tonight, or, cause I know I get questions from board members on that, and I haven't known. You know, if we wanna take an ad or a booth out somewhere, we usually put that in marketing, but if they offer that as here, sponsor at this level and you get that benefit, is that different than marketing and advertising?
I think an example is the Pollard. If we get a page in the Pollard, do an ad in the Pollard thing for the year, that's marketing. I don't think that's a sponsorship or or whatever we call it.
Right.
Event
Yeah.
support. We're paying for an ad, just like any other business would.
Okay.
So that comes out of marketing money.
In my opinion, I mean, I think that
I
makes
think so.
sense.
And I also think, because by the time we meet in September, and I don't know if this is gonna, for the amount, gonna be a city council decision or not, we need to know which way we're gonna go on the Lazy East sponsorship.
Well, that's a 3-year contract, so we don't know when it's
Yeah,
up.
but we're about out of 3 years.
I don't know.
I think it's-
See, I wasn't even sure it was a lazy, 3-year contract.
I think it's up for renewal this year.
Okay.
And if it is, we need to,
Thought we had one more year on it, but you may be right.
we need to maybe get a little bigger bang for our buck for the 10 grand.
Well, and I know in the past, we'd given them 7,500. I don't know what we were getting for that, but, we went up 2,500.
This says 2015-17 combination sponsorship, City of Guthrie Lazy E.
It's done after, it's done.
Is what it says at the very top of it,
Okay.
right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if we can put that on the agenda too.
I'll be contacting you then.
Well, I think we need to contact him and get the sponsorship packet if we're gonna talk about it next meeting. We can't wait for him to call us,
No,
so.
I've actually put in a call saying we need to sit down, but,
Calls don't work. You have to
yeah,
just
no.
email them.
Okay, good to know, yeah. All right. Staff comments, are we ready to move on to that? Are there more future items?
I think you can move on.
Okay.
Well, Mike's got something.
No, I'm ready. I want to listen
Okay.
to staff comments. I want
Keith,
to.
would you let us know about social media?
I can,
report?
you have, July's analytics in front of you. I'll let you read those on your own pleasure, but if you wanna go to the, I don't have page numbers, but the audience engagement, which is towards the back. This page.
I guess something happened July 2nd and 3rd. Huh?
So I know I've been doing this is for James' benefit because he caught me off guard the first time I printed this out. He wanted to know what the spikes were, so I've labeled your spikes. So the second was Red Brick Nights and Officer Wade. There was a benefit video for Officer Wade. And then there was a little bump 13th and 14th, and that was the mayor's All About Guthrie with the Sports Museum and another Wade video. And then on the 4th, 25th, the bump was an Officer Wade video. So,
We didn't have any giveaways during this.
no, we didn't have any this year, this month, so.
That's pretty impressive, just to be able to see the analytics.
So,
Okay. Yeah, social media, we're planning on giveaways. Heath and I are gonna start meeting monthly to kind of do a plan of what we
Yeah.
post, make sure we cover stuff. Events, I think we've talked through all of that. That's-
well, I don't know, here's two, I don't know if, the Walk for Life, it'll bring people to town. So it's not really a CVB thing, but, it has been originally in Edmond the last 5-6 years. And they're bringing it to Mineral Wells Park. And there's about, I don't know, 500-600 people that do the run or the walk. And so they'll be in town, on the 23rd, day. So of September. So that'll have people to town. And then another event that I think will help spread Guthrie, oh, it's not really an event, but the high school band, the wind ensemble, has been picked to play at the state ensemble in Tulsa. They've been picked as the top 5A wind ensemble to play in January, and they play in front of all the state music educators. And they have to make a program that they give out when they play. And Mr. Blackburn wants to do the front page as this is Guthrie, this is why you should come to Guthrie. He wants it to be more of a Guthrie piece than just a Guthrie high school band wind ensemble piece. And so I thought that was pretty neat. So I'm gonna ask him. I don't know what the protocol is, but if he does that, I would like to put our logo on that page. Since it is pushing Guthrie, and it'll be going out to everybody all over the state, will be there. So I don't know what the protocol is on me being able to do that, but I figure if he's gonna take a page in his program to talk about Guthrie, we should be willing to put our name in it or something. Or I don't know if he helped pay for the programs. I don't know. I don't know as far as that type of an event.
Is it
how
something
that's-
you're working with him and could get more information to me about? Because, I mean, I think it's a really great thing to be a part of, really.
What
I wish you told me about it before the meeting. I hate these guys.
What information do you
I don't know if
need?
he's- Well, I don't know, yeah, just what does he need from us, and
Yeah,
is he
is
okay
he
doing
paying
that?
just the things?
Yeah, I mean,
Just
the
if it's-
band would be paying for the programs. And so that's my thing is, I mean, would he need to fill out an event support
No,
if
not
he
for,
wanted to use the logo?
no, but he probably would need our permission, just because we don't want
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
going, well,
Right.
I'm just gonna put the Visit
Right,
Guthrie logo
and that's
on
what I
this."
mean, I guess that's
Yeah.
what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean,
because my thing, because he doesn't have to tout Guthrie.
yeah.
He can tout his band and then move on.
Mhm.
But I talked to him at our band booster meeting, and he wants to use a whole page
I think that's great.
in the
Yeah.
program to talk about Guthrie.
Do we need to vote on that?
It's on the agenda, so we can't.
Okay.
So,
Use of logo.
But I
Yeah.
wouldn't see a problem with it.
So,
Other than, I mean, I think,
because his idea is, there are gonna, for one, it's all the state musician educators are there, and then all the parents that go to watch all these kids play, and there's bands from all over the state
I think we need to
there.
send him a big thank you is what we need to do.
And so he was wanting to
That's great.
tout Guthrie along with touting the Guthrie band, so which I thought was pretty cool. So those are just two events that I know that'll get the Guthrie word out. So
Anybody else know of any events that we should talk to or know about, or?
Well, I think it's a couple of months away, and this is gonna be obviously a more long-range thing. But does everyone know that they're building an ATV training center
Yes.
over at Logan County Fairgrounds? Well, the building's up. The doors were supposed to go on last week, but Mike Klump told me it'll probably be October before he's ready to start running classes through the building. But if he does, the trainer classes are 3 days. That will be to our advantage because they will be staying probably locally, hopefully, for the classes. But that would be another thing that once he gets it, maybe we could give him some brochures of things coming that he can put over there for the people coming in for the classes.
Thanks, Mike.
And I forget the dates and details. I know the last time they did it was a very successful fundraiser for them, but the Dina Lay Boys are gonna be putting on another Guthrie's Got Talent, like they did a few years ago. They do that at the temple. So I'll get you the dates on that, but I think it's this fall that they're gonna put that
Can we
together.
get the young lady from Deer Creek or whatever to come?
Man,
Well, the ventriloquist, yeah.
isn't she amazing?
We could have a few people in Guthrie.
Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
could.
Travel okay ad. There should be an example on your table. There's actually two. One of them is the page we did with Stillwater last year, and one of them is this, what's called a spec ad. So it's basically what I'm taking around to sell listings. A listing includes a photo, name of your business, and either website address or phone number. I'm asking $300 for each of the listings. Stillwater, I've had 2 calls with them, and I meant to call them back today, but it didn't happen. about doing the split page again. Leroy said, I don't wanna do a full page, just do a half page, what would the cost of it, see if you can do a split again. So anyway, I've got 2 yeses, possibly almost, and 3 maybes on listings in this ad. I've probably approached about 12 to 15 people, so businesses, and I'm trying not to repeat types of business. So, for example, if I approach one bed and breakfast, if they say no, I'll approach another one. If they say maybe, I say, okay, I need to know by this date, because if you say no, I'm going to see if I can get another bed and breakfast or someone on board. Any thoughts on that? I think it'll take our total cost of the ad down less than $3,000 for the half page. I know I didn't exactly vote on rates, but I tried to look on what was reasonable for the space allowed. So I wanted people to try to participate.
And the space is the picture.
The space is
Square.
the little inset pictures.
I like that.
Nice.
Good idea.
Travel okay ad. Okay, that covers that.
So you have 4
It's due here and
spaces.
it's due in September. I have 4 spaces.
So who do you have already sold to?
Sealed with a Kiss, Yarn Shop, Stables Cafe, and then Gary Good has said yes, but he's given me some feedback that I'm not sure he understands exactly what he's getting for the ad, $300, so I want to make sure he's clear on that. And then, yeah, got a couple other. No, Hoboken hasn't.
Oh, okay, that's
They haven't
just a
got back to me. It's just a
It's a
sample. I was hoping if I put them in there and I went directly to them and say, look, this is what your ad could look like, they would go, look at that, how wonderful. But
So you have to hit Rick's coffee shop.
I actually talked with Rick's. Rick's is, I don't know if you know, Rick's is opening a drive-through location. The focus and funds are going towards that right now.
Where's that at?
So it's gonna
How
be
about
in the way.
Spoonful?
Pharmacy.
Spoonful.
Wow.
Drive-through coffee and spoonful.
Up at where?
Spoonful.
Spoonful
Industrial
Pharmacy.
Division.
Legend.
Pharmacy, this is pharmacy, industrial.
Oh, okay.
She's paying for that map.
Sounds good.
Yeah, she's doing the Frontier Country map for us. Well, not for us, for her,
I'm
but
telling you,
yeah.
that new Missy's is just, no matter what time you drive through it, it is just.
Busy. Tourism website. We are now at www.guthrieok.com.
That's great.
If you go to Offbeat Oklahoma or visit GuthrieOK.com, it will still redirect you to GuthrieOK.com. So none of those are
Good.
lost.
That is great.
And
Good.
Price Purvis said he'd probably be willing to give us the domain name visitguthrie.com. He's working through the process of how to turn that over to us. That would also redirect to Guthrie OK. So people, there's some really basic sites people use when they search, or URLs, and it has to do with the visit town name or whatever. And so that's why domains are fairly inexpensive. So, but you can lead them all to one site. So that's that. And I'm going through the pages, finessing the listings. After I'm done with that, I will start adding photos. Aaron and I are going to need a bunch of photos. The ones I've looked at are fantastic. Since thanks to you all for the camera, since that's going pretty well. Go and check your listings. If you own a business, tell people locally to check their listings, and let me know what changes they are. It may take me up to a week to make changes, but I will get them done. And people may be mad if things aren't perfect, but boy, there's a lot to list. So, and I'm happy to get feedback. And I don't know what I don't know. So,
So what the chamber has aren't necessarily current, accurate?
I haven't gone through the chamber for all of it. I went through our brochure, I went through some of the chamber, I did Google searches, and I've been calling people. You should see Heath and I's Guthrie attraction list. It's like six Excel spreadsheets long. So it's a lot to get on there, but I'm working on it. But yeah, feedback is invited. That brochure, we had a subcommittee meeting. I need to call a second subcommittee meeting, starting to get quotes. I'm trying to get quotes right now for what we're talking about. We're looking at a booklet style brochure with a map in the middle. And instead of doing full listings of everything that we have here with the address and the phone number of all of it, we're talking about doing pictures that are more generic categories and saying we have antiques, we have boutiques, we have Mexican food and coffee shops and wonderful Italian food and American fare and bakeries and then directing folks to our website where listings can be changed very quickly and at less expense. And so anyway, we'll be meeting again right now. We
And to
met
make
with
it-
Map Inc., Steve
and to-
Rice. He's getting me quotes.
One of our goals is to make it more of a tourism piece to draw people to Guthrie.
Versus more of a directory when you get here, which is kind of, it's not a bad thing. There's two populations. Do you help draw or do you serve the people who come? And I think we can do both. And there are already maps locally of City Hall, and we can create one-page print-offs, inserts with restaurant lists and hours and things like that that are available locally and also available on the website. So that's kind of my goal with that, is to do a lot of our updated printing in-house and leave our tourism piece big, colorful, and a little more generic. But I'll probably, I don't know if it'll be ready for the next meeting or not, but it's coming. Next, volunteers. I guess I was gonna say, if we're doing booths at some of these things like Lazy Eon weekends, I may send out calls for volunteers, and I may call on you to make that available, because I'm still hourly, and I love my job. I do, but I also need sometimes weekends to mow my lawn and do some of those things. So I may be calling on a lot of you, and if you're able to volunteer, we'll give you a T-shirt once we get them ordered. So, all right. Any other staff comments?
Oh, on the bottom, it got cut off, I just now remembered. On the bottom of your paper, I wrote Guthrie Summer Streets. It got cut off when I made my copies. But we estimated about 2,000 people around the post office for Guthrie Summer Streets. So,
Everybody was having fun.
yep.
How did that compare to last year?
We didn't have any, we didn't count them last year, so. But just from visual, it seemed like there was more people on the streets, so.
I think it was a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, and we did spread out the booths farther this year, so people had more room, so. And I don't know, Jane, have you heard, I tried to get hold of Jason a couple times. Do you know what the Red Brick Night numbers were last month?
I don't.
So I'll have both months for you next month, but I don't have those, so I'll have those next month.
Any board comments?
Thank you for everything.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?